Alright, welcome back to another Bleach Brave Souls video. Today, we're going to be going over 5 things that only day 1 players or veteran players would remember. And there's going to be a lot of things that you guys, newer players, might not know. So this is definitely going to be an interesting video. But before we get into it, I do want to give a shout out to Anyan XD and as well as Assassin6264. Thank you so much for commenting on my last video. If you have your own comment shout out, make sure to go down below, leave a comment, and I'll shout you out in the next one. With that all being said, let's just get right into it. Alright, so the very first thing I want to show you guys or emphasize is going to be the summon screen. Now, this is how the summon screen looks like nowadays. Pretty self-standard. Nothing too special over here, but I'm going to show you a screenshot of how the summon screen used to look like, and there's going to be a lot of different elements to the old style of the summon screen. So here it is. This is the old summon screen that I'm showing you right now, and as you can see here, the very interesting thing is that they used to have a 3D model displayed of the characters that you're trying to pull. Now, whether or not this is old school, but I still think that this would have been awesome to implement in nowadays. Just imagine having the 3D model of Byakuya right here on the left hand side, and also the Aizen, right? Just having a preview of them. With that all being said, let's move on to the next thing. Alright, so the second thing we're going to be going over, it is going to be the home screen. Now, if we just take a look at the current home screen, we can see there's a whole lot of tabs over here and all these different things. We all are familiar with the setup right now, but if we just take a screenshot of how the old homepage used to look like, you're gonna see that there is a lot of different things that never even existed at the time, let alone the things that did exist used to look way different. I want to give you guys a pointer here towards the soul tickets. Now, nowadays we can use 50 soul tickets, but back then the max amount of soul tickets you could use at a time was 5 soul tickets, and that's it. You're gonna have to wait till it refreshes, which is honestly quite a pain because there is a lot to do in the game and 5 tickets is just not enough. Nowadays we have 50, which emphasizes how much content there is in the game right now, but back then you only had 5 soul tickets, and once you're done with those 5 soul tickets, you're gonna have to wait until they refresh, and that was a very tiresome process. That's going to be one of the main things that I want to point out here on the home screen, but there's a lot of different things you can check out over here. Now, before we get into the third thing, I do want to say, if you are enjoying the video so far, do make sure to leave a like on the video and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Alright, so the third thing we're going to be going over, it is going to be a forgotten power-up material. Now, we have had several power-up materials in the game. Some have stayed, some have went, and this specific one I'm going to mention is going to be a very unique one because only resurrectable characters have access or required this power-up material to be used. Now, if you were around back then, you would know exactly what I'm talking about, and they're called resurrection rings. Now, you might be wondering, what are resurrection rings? Well, they're actually a power-up material that resurrectable characters use to get resurrected. So before you're able to do so, you're gonna have to go to a quest, clear the quest, and all the resurrection rings are attributed, right? So if you had to resurrect a power character, you're gonna have to go to the power section and so on and so forth. You're gonna have to use these resurrection rings in order to resurrect the characters. So it is a whole different side quest. All that stuff is being cut out and it's made way more simpler. And yeah, there's just another thing, another forgotten thing, and this is one of the better changes that they've made in the game, and it's a very interesting thing. So that is going to be the resurrection rings. Very interesting stuff. Alright, so the fourth thing we're going to be going over, it is going to be raid characters. Now, you guys already know that I'm practically an ambassador for raid characters. If you haven't already claimed all of these guys and used them for orbs, you guys are sitting on a gold mine. But that's not why we're here today. Why we're here today is going to be actually discussing the relevance of what these characters were back in the day. Now, if you were around maybe 2 or 3 years ago, you would know that these characters had to be obtained by clearing their specific events. Now, these events used to be somewhat difficult back in the day, but as soon as time went on, it practically got a bit easier and it sort of became a chore rather than a challenge. So they just decided to revamp the whole system and take those raid characters and put them into the coin exchange. So very interesting stuff over here. That's going to be number 4, raid characters. We're going to go to the 5th one right here. Alright, the final thing we're going to be going over, it is going to be another power-up material. Now, we just went through a power-up material, we took a break, and now we're back again. Because if you guys know a power-up material that starts with the letter F, well, I'll give you a second to guess. Well, if you guessed Frenzy Crystals, well, you are absolutely correct, because Frenzy Crystals are what used to be crystals that were needed to upgrade Frenzy characters. Now, if you don't know what Frenzy characters are, well, let me show you. This is a prime example of a Frenzy character. Now, back in the day, Frenzy characters were the only characters in the game that used to have 2 soul traits, 2 good soul traits, them Frenzy units, and as well as resurrectable units. But Frenzy units were unique because they had 2 soul traits without being resurrected. So that was very, very unique. Nowadays, it's not as unique anymore. But the very, very strange thing about these characters is what made them stand out is in order to power them up, you're going to have to go on to the quest section, clear their specific quests, and get their Frenzy Crystals in order to use and upgrade over here. So this was a totally unnecessary can of worms that they decided to open with these characters. Yes, they were good at the time, but it was just a whole nother side quest in order to go out and get these Frenzy Crystals. Mind you, these crystals was character specific, so if you had an Ichigo like this one right here, you needed to clear his event, and his event used to be, I think these events used to be reoccurring. So if you missed an event, you're gonna have to wait a few days or a couple hours or something like that in order for them to come back. That was a totally different system, and luckily for us, it has been scrapped. That was one of the good things that have been scrapped, and now they just use normal crystals right here. But these characters were very unique and they were very useful. Nowadays, these are just memorabilia of a forgotten age of Bleach Brave Souls. Alright, so those are going to be the 5 things that only OG players would practically know. If you guys learned something, do make sure to let me know by leaving a like on the video. If I did miss something, make sure to comment down below. Maybe I missed something. I know I missed something. So if you do know what I never mentioned, make sure to let me know down below. Thank you guys so much for watching till the end. If you did enjoy, please leave a like, comment down below, and as well as subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you guys for sticking around till the end, and I will see you all in the next one.